and I just finished making a live video, and then I just deleted it because it was super crackly and sounded terrible. So I didn't think that it would replay very well, and anybody would want to watch a crackly video all the way through. So I'm starting again. Here I am again. And I'm going to offer the same thing that I offered in the first video, which is to say, I um, I don't go live very much. This is kind of a new thing for me. But some of you have been really reading my posts, and so rather than doing a bunch of writing, I thought, well, maybe I should go live sometime and talk about some of these posts that I'm writing. So here I am. And so today I just want to tell you and talk about a little bit about the bathtub practice that I do. So I posted something, I think it was last week or the week before, about doing bathtub ritual. So I'll just share a little bit about my bathtub ritual and how it got created, how it got kind of concocted, and what I do in there. So that if you want to create your own bathtub ritual, or if some of these practices are helpful for you, you can begin to really work with them. So I'll just share what I shared in the last video that didn't turn out. Um, and that is that I'm in Crown Point, Indiana. So I'm actually in Maryville, Indiana, which is Crown Point and Maryville are adjacent towns. So for all of you that don't know, it's kind of the northwest part of Indiana, and it's the area that I grew up in. And it's kind of the place that I really never thought I would be back. I never thought I would come back here. It's a hard place for me. It's one that I visit and have no problem visiting, but I just meant in terms of living. I didn't think that I would come back here. I had a hard time in high school and in junior high here, so it doesn't have the best memories for me in some ways. And so that's why it was a hard place to kind of say, I want to live here again. But we're in a transition. My husband and I are in a transition phase. We have left our home of Chicago. We've been in Chicago for 25 years or so, and sold our house in Berwyn to make a move to North Carolina, which is where we're going next. And my parents so generously offered us the opportunity to live here in this apartment that we are living in right now, so that we could take the steps to sell our house and then take the steps next to choose where we want to live in North Carolina. In Boone, North Carolina is where we're looking to move. And so yeah, so we're on our way. And this past year, I've been living here, and it's been a really great journey. It's really surprised me in a lot of ways. It's just been kind of a wonderful retreat time. These kinds of in between spaces that I think sometimes are fearful for us turn out to be really great, because they just allow us, if we just let them, they allow us to just sit there and let it penetrate. And so I've been kind of out of commission in a more public way for a little while, outside of writing things here and there. I haven't been doing that much. But I recently started working at a place here in Crown Point called Boundless Retrieval, which offers lots of healing modalities like Reiki and things, and then also offers classes, has markets, sells a lot of things, spiritual kind of types of things. Um, and it's a wonderful place, and I've gotten to kind of work with clients now one on one in a more alive way. And so I'm kind of back in a more public way, but for about 6, 7 months, I was really kind of hiding out. And I don't want to say hiding out, I want to be more retreating, because it was really intentional for me to hide out and kind of just be by myself for a little while, be by myself, hang out with my family, get to know my parents in a kind of whole new, interesting way. and also get to know my husband in an interesting way because he's been, ill for the last 4 years and has really just come out of it. And so it's been a really sweet little time, a little period of time. And I feel so fortunate that I've gotten to do that. But part of that has been really just trying to figure out what I want to do on this retreat with myself. And what has come out of that is this bathtub ritual. So the bathtub or water is a place that feels very safe to me. And when I say safe, I mean my whole nervous system tends to be able to relax in water. And I know that just from nature. So, if you think about the place in nature that you feel the best, like, some people are really like drawn to the ocean and others are drawn to the river and others are drawn to mountains and deserts and, whatever your kind of jam is that your body's like, yeah, I want to be there on that kind of land. I want to be in the forest. Whatever that is, I feel like can really serve as a safe zone for us in a lot of ways. So, we are walking through the world sometimes with all kinds of stuff going on in our bodies, whether that be anxiety or anger or frustration or just a number of different things that we're feeling out in the world right now, because the world has become a tough place to be. And our whole nervous system can kind of get out of whack just even walking around. And so finding these kinds of safe spaces, I like to call them, they're not safe in terms of like, we're never safe. I mean, anything could happen at any point. But when I say safe, I mean like our nervous system has a better chance of just being able to relax and chill. Because we know when we're kind of relaxed and when we're not. So you find the thing that is really relaxing for you, and you do more of it, and particularly in your own body. So in my case, the bathtub, I don't have an ocean or a lake that I can just get to. I do have a lake, but it's 25 minutes away and I'm not going to go there every day. So the bathtub really serves as my water. And I fill up the bathtub in the morning and then I take some really, really long baths in the morning, and that's really my time. And I I want to share what I basically do in this bathtub ritual. So it's all sorts of things. I'm really I've been doing a lot of ancestry work and a lot of ancestry practice, and I can share more about that at another time. But one of the things that I really like to do in the bathtub is a check-in on my body. And when I say check-in, what I do is I check in with myself from head to toe. Um, so it's not just a like, how am I today, but it's really, really intentional. Like, how is all these parts of my body today? So I often start up with my head. Sometimes I start with my feet and go the other way. But I want to show you and offer you a little practice today about how to check in with our entire system, this body system. And I feel like this is really important to do this kind of a check-in each day and to kind of see and explore which areas of our body don't feel good and which areas of our body, what is our body really needing and wanting. And the interesting thing about the body is that it will tell you. I mean, sometimes you know that. Sometimes you know because it will scream it at you. It'll say, I'm hungry and feed me right now. And it gets too hard to ignore because it'll start screaming if we don't pay attention. But this is a way to pay attention before it starts screaming, in fact, so that we can actually be on top of it and do something about it, or give the body what it needs without it getting to that point. So we'll just start. We can do this. We don't have to do this in the water, in the bathtub. We can do this anywhere. So we'll do it here. And then if you want to take it into the bathtub and do it where it feels really safe, because it's helpful to calm this body down, to really just be in a relaxed space. Because when you check in, it's going to tell you it's not relaxed. So if you want to get into a relaxed space, you can go deeper and start to get even further into asking questions when you're in that kind of space, um, or uh, or not. Sometimes it's just you're not relaxed, and that's what the body will tell you. So let's start. Let's start with head space. So I will often just begin to touch the space that I'm working with, touch the part of the body that I want to check in with. So I might start at this top part of my head. And just ask, what's happening for you here today. And then it'll talk back. Mine is saying, we're thinking about stuff too much. You don't have to be up here all the time. I can feel a little bit of tenderness going on here. So you have a choice when you do this kind of a check-in. You can just simply go down and check in with every single part of your body, and just listen, or you can even kind of do some of the things that ask you to do. So you might say, "Oh, I see you have kind of some tenderness going on here. Yeah, okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of a head massage, and then maybe I'll give you one a little bit later, too." I see a lot of your energies here. And then come down and just kind of let your fingers go where it feels good. Yeah, I'm feeling in my neck some tightness here. And my body says you need to do a little stretching here in this area. Maybe after you could. So you could do it, you can make the choice whether to do that now, or, I'm here talking to you, so I'm going to make the choice and tell my neck, yeah, as soon as I get off of this live session, I'll do a little neck stretching. And then I come down, check on my throat. And you can make sounds with your throat. Just check in. Mine says you have a lot to say. You have things to say that you're not saying. So I could get into that with my throat if I wanted to now, if I had the time, or I could say, okay, throat, what am I not saying that I need to say? Let's talk about that later. I'll come back and check in with you later. We can go deeper with that. And then down into this area here, into the heart center. And my heart center, feels a little bit open, but it's a little bit closed off slightly because I'm feeling a little bit heady right now. So, especially because I'm doing a video. So that's making me feel like I have to think too much. So now I'm in my heart center, and I don't quite feel the warmth that I would like to feel. So I can tell it's a little bit closed. So I might come back to this, or I could just offer my heart something. So I'm going to do a little bit of Tonglen practice here, just a little brief one. So if you want to open up your heart center, and you could, it could be too much heart. So you could maybe not want to do this practice when there's too much going on here. But right now, for me, it feels closed off. So if you feel that closed offness, a little bit of Tonglen practice is really helpful. So I will just imagine somebody that I feel love for, connection to, somebody, a being that's easy for me. Like, could be your cat. My cat is a really easy one. She happens to be sleeping over here too. So I could just, real easily just look up at her, and already I can feel my softness because she makes me feel soft. So someone like that for you. And so that might be enough. Just even thinking about them, that might have done enough to open it up a little bit. But if you want to take it a little further, you could just imagine the person or being that you feel the softness for, and then just breathe in their pain and suffering. Any pain and suffering that they might be having right now, just breathe that in. You breathe that into your heart center. And you don't take their pain and suffering on, you transmute it, you transform that, and you feel your compassion and your love. You take their pain and suffering, and then you change that into compassion and love. And then you offer it back to them. Just send it back. All of your radiant compassion and love back. And you can do that a few times, just taking in. Each time you breathe in, you can breathe in their pain. And then you can breathe out your compassion. And you can continue to do that until you start to feel a little bit softer in your chest. Start to open up your heart a little bit more. There it is for me. And then once you've kind of opened it up, you can even start to offer that radiance to other beings. And then you can continue down into this gut area, this stomach gut kind of area. This area is kind of the area where you have gut feelings. I've heard that term, I'm sure, gut feeling. It's this feeling of like, that thing that says like, no, don't step in there, don't go there, don't do this thing. It's not really, it's not coming out of this intellectual, like logical place necessarily. It's just this feeling that you have. Just have this feeling. Like, yeah, this is what I need to do, or this is where I need to go, or this is where I need to be, or whatever it's for. It's either a yes or a no sometimes. Although it's really can speak even more than just a yes or a no. But sometimes it starts off, it's very loud sometimes. Especially when we're about to get into something really bad for ourselves. Sometimes this area can be very loud. It can just be like, this is not good for you. Really coming from your gut. So mine is saying right now, this is good, Arti, that you're going live. This feels good to do this live stream thing. It was a good feeling to go through with. Yes. I'm getting a yes. And sometimes it can also be stuff like, I'm hungry. Food region is really, that's why it's so important to have good gut health and take in foods that are really like, let this area be clean and free from anything that's not good for it, because it allows then the intuitional part of the gut to really come through in a much more clear way. So this part also could tell you what foods you're lacking or you need, or to tell you to eat less of something or the other. Can really give you insight into that. And then you come down here in your groin area and your bottom. And here, can receive really deep messages, sometimes traumatic messages even. You can also receive really wonderful messages here. And in all of these areas, it's like that. Sometimes it's a message we want to hear, and sometimes it's really not a message we want to hear. But it is always a message that is going to be helpful, whether it feels good or bad. It's always information about what's going on in here. And this area down here, everything below, is really where we as a culture are really wounded. A lot of sexual trauma in our society in general, in our ancestral lineages. I mean, we're wounded in all of these areas, but I feel like there's a lot in here. There's a lot of wounding in our bodies. And so just coming down then into the legs and into the feet is really helpful. Giving yourself a foot massage here. Just really checking in. It could be telling you things like, I'm really cold, I'm really hot. It could be very basic on physical level, kind of a physical information like that. It could be telling you lots of things. But this area here, is the part that the root, it's really, really connected with the earth. And when I say that, I mean, we're standing, right? We're standing on our feet. We're sitting on our roots. We're sitting on our butt. We're sitting on our legs. It's this real sense of rootedness. It's the thing, you're sitting on the earth. This is the earth. And you're sitting right on the surface of the earth. And this is the part, that is touching down on the ground. And if you really want to make it more palpable, you can even go outside and really sit on the grass or sit on the dirt and really feel a sense of being rooted into the earth. The earth has got gravity. It's holding you down. You're not flying out into space everywhere, but you're actually just rooted down into the earth, and the earth is just there to hold you. And we take it for granted. We take it for granted. We don't really think about gravity because that's just our norm. But the earth is so good to us, it doesn't really let us go. We don't have to worry about just being lost or having to tether ourselves so tightly, because it's just doing that for us. And so here we can just really feel a sensation of groundedness in our body. And sometimes I like to picture a cord going from my root, either my root chakra if I'm sitting down, or even my feet, just a cord that is tethering me to the earth. And I like to picture it to the center of the earth, as though it's an anchor that's just holding me there, saying, don't worry. Earth is just saying, don't worry. I've got you. I've got you. You can't be lost because I've always got you. And so that's it. That's just checking in with your body. And why would you do that? Because we've got so much going on, and we don't check in with our bodies. We forget sometimes everything from the neck down even exists. And if we do pay any attention, it's when something goes off the rails, or something is bad, or we're hungry, or it needs something and it has to be so loud. And instead of waiting until it's so loud, if we just do this check-in, this very, very simple check-in, each day, you really, it's amazing the wisdom that comes through. The amazing how the body will speak to you and say, "Hey, I need this. This is starting to really get bad. Let's work on this. Let's like address this." And sometimes it's emotional. It's not always physical. It's sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it says, "Your heart is broken right now. This is what you can do. You know, this is not really working. This I've got too much going on in my heart right now. So therefore, I'm going to root. I'm going to root on the earth, and I'm going to have a sense of stability because I don't feel stable right now." Right? So it's everything from the stability to, heart sickness that you might feel, to like all this head stuff going on. I'm thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do. That's all head. So we're really just shifting and really getting a sense of whole body. And that really allows us to be the kind of master of our own bodies, to know how to work with our energy in our bodies. And then beyond that, and beyond this video, hopefully we can start to talk about not just how do you open up these parts again, that are just maybe just not, maybe just don't feel your heart, or you just don't feel your head that much, or whatever. It's just kind of now you don't feel rooted. Um, we can we can do practices to really open these parts up, but then we can do practices to help them to flow and to talk to one another, because that's the other important part. So sometimes they're open, but they're not talking. And so we get to do something about that. There's things that we can do about that, about really making all of this work again and work to our benefit. So I hope that's helpful. That's something I like to do in my bathtub. Again, it's really helpful to be in a space where your body can relax and feel good. Um, so if you've got that, maybe you've got a sanctuary at home that you've created, have a little space to yourself. But it's important. And if you don't, find a spot outside. Go outside into nature, find that spot that's really yours. We all really need that. We all need that like spot that feels kind of safe for us and good. So I wish you lots of health and goodness, and I will see you on the next live stream.